As the sun dipped below the horizon, a hush fell over the Mojave Desert. A group of scientists and military personnel, led by Commander John Carter, waited in anticipation. A faint hum in the distance grew louder until it culminated in the landing of a sleek, iridescent spacecraft. The craft, which heralded the first official contact with the alien species from Zarlix, touched down lightly on the desert sands. John stepped forward as the hatch opened, revealing a creature unlike any human. Z was slender, with shimmering skin that reflected the Earth's setting sun, and eyes wide with curiosity. "Welcome to Earth, Z." John extended his hand, a gesture he hoped would be understood as friendly. Z looked at the hand, tilting his head, then mimicked the motion, his hand cool and smooth against John's. "Thank you, John Carter. We are pleased to make contact with humanity." Beside John, Dr. Eric Sandoval, a leading xenobiologist, stepped forward with a scanner, eager to document everything. "This is incredible," Eric muttered, almost to himself as he made careful observations. Major Tom Griggs, responsible for the security of the operation, watched the exchange with a practiced eye. "Keep it formal, gentlemen. We don't know their capabilities yet." Z seemed amused by the array of emotions and reactions his presence elicited. "We come in peace and hope to learn much from each other." John nodded, guiding Z and his two companions towards the temporary base set up a short distance away. "Let's get you settled in. There's a lot we hope to discuss." As they walked, Z's gaze lingered on the portable devices and equipment scattered around. "Your technology interests us greatly. It is different, yet similar to ours in function." "We have much to share," John agreed, "and we're just as eager to learn about yours. But first, let me introduce you to our team." Inside the base, a small crowd of experts in various fields gathered. Dr. Sandoval was already setting up a workstation with his findings. "Z, this is Dr. Leah Thompson, our chief linguist, and this is Dr. Alan Rickman, our cultural anthropologist." Leah stepped forward with a smile. "It's an honor to meet you. We've been preparing for this moment for a long time." Alan offered a more reserved nod, his mind already racing with questions about Zarlixian culture. Z looked between them. "And we have prepared as well. There is much to discuss about our ways of life. I am particularly intrigued by your concept of family." John chuckled softly. "It's a broad topic. Humans place a lot of emotional value on family connections." "Indeed," Z replied. "Zarlixians too value kinship, though perhaps our social structures differ. We reproduce quite differently from you, which affects many aspects of our society." The statement caught everyone off guard, sparking a flurry of whispers among the team. John saw an opportunity. "Perhaps that's a good starting point for our talks tomorrow. Understanding each other's biology could help bridge some gaps." As the team dispersed to prepare for the in-depth discussions scheduled for the next day, Major Griggs lingered behind. "Remember, John, we need to stay vigilant. This is still uncharted territory." John met his gaze with a nod. "We'll proceed carefully, Tom. There's a lot at stake here." The night settled over the base as lights flickered on, illuminating the desert. Inside, the hum of conversation and the clinking of equipment set the stage for a historic exchange. Humanity was about to embark on a journey of unprecedented interstellar diplomacy, and John felt the weight of this moment deeply. As he looked at Z, who was already deep in discussion with Dr. Sandoval, he couldn't help but feel that this was the beginning of something transformative. The next morning, the base was abuzz with activity. Scientists and military personnel moved about, preparing for the day's meetings. In a spacious conference room, John Carter, Z, and other members of both the human and Zarlixian delegations gathered around a large oval table. The air was charged with a sense of anticipation and a touch of nervous excitement. John initiated the meeting. "Today, we aim to deepen our understanding of each other's worlds. Z, you mentioned Zarlixian reproductive processes yesterday. Could we start there?" Z nodded, his expression earnest. "Of course, John. On Zarlix, reproduction is a community event, not limited to two individuals. It's both a biological and a social process, involving genetic contributions from multiple parents." Dr. Eric Sandoval leaned forward, intrigued. "Multiple parents, you say? That's fascinating. How does that affect Zarlixian family structures?" "Our concept of family extends beyond the immediate contributors. It includes the whole community, which provides a diverse genetic and cultural heritage," Z explained, his eyes glowing slightly as he spoke about his people. Major Tom Griggs, sitting at the back, exchanged a glance with John, signaling him to tread carefully. Meanwhile, Dr. Leah Thompson interjected, "It's a communal approach then, quite different from the human nuclear family model." "Yes, quite different," Z agreed. Then, with a curious tilt of his head, he added, "Which leads me to a proposal. I would like to understand human reproduction more intimately. Could I participate in some way?" A stunned silence fell over the room. John's heart raced as he processed the request. This was uncharted territory, and the implications could be monumental. Participate? How exactly? John asked cautiously, choosing his words carefully. Z elaborated. "I am proposing a controlled biological exchange. It would provide invaluable data and deepen our bonds through shared scientific pursuit." Dr. Alan Rickman, the cultural anthropologist, was quick to respond. "That's a significant ethical and biological proposition, Z. Human reproductive processes are deeply personal and tied to individual emotions and legal frameworks." Z seemed to ponder this, his brow furrowing. "I see. On Zarlix, such exchanges are common scientific practice." John knew this was a delicate moment. "Let's table this for a brief recess. We need to discuss this internally." He gave a nod to his team, signaling them to a smaller briefing room. Once alone, the human team erupted into discussion. Dr. Sandoval was scientifically curious. The data could be revolutionary. However, Major Griggs was firm. "We need to consider the security implications. This could open up biological vulnerabilities." Leah added, "And the cultural impact. We can't just treat this as a simple scientific exchange. It's about human lives and emotions." John listened to each point, feeling the weight of leadership. "Okay, let's approach this systematically. We'll seek guidance from the UN and our ethical boards. No decisions will be made without thorough deliberation." Returning to the conference room, John addressed Z. "We appreciate your proposal and the trust it implies. However, we must consider all implications carefully. We'll continue our discussions and get back to you with a considered response." Z nodded, understanding the complexity of his request. "Of course, I respect your processes. We are here to learn from each other after all." As the meeting adjourned, the air was filled with a mix of curiosity and concern. John knew the days ahead would require careful navigation as they delved deeper into not just scientific but ethical frontiers. Over the next few days, the base became a hive of activity as experts from around the globe arrived to participate in what was rapidly becoming one of the most significant scientific and diplomatic engagements in human history. John Carter, tasked with overseeing the collaboration, found himself mediating not only between humans and Zarlixians, but also among the various interests of the scientific community and the general public. In a specialized observation area, Z and his companions were introduced to various human technologies and medical processes related to reproduction. Dr. Eric Sandoval led the demonstration, explaining the intricacies of human biology with the aid of advanced imaging technologies. "Here you can see the human reproductive system in a 3D model," Eric pointed out on the screen. "Unlike Zarlixians, human reproduction typically involves two individuals contributing genetic material." Z, intensely focused, asked, "And the emotional aspects you mentioned, how are they represented in this process?" John, observing the interaction, interjected, "It's a bit more complex. Emotions play a huge role in human bonding and the decision to reproduce. It's not just biological. It's deeply personal and tied to feelings of love, commitment, and sometimes social expectations." Meanwhile, Major Tom Griggs supervised the security protocols, ensuring that all data exchanged was encrypted and that no sensitive information could be compromised. "We're in uncharted waters here," he muttered to one of his aides. "Keep everything on lockdown." The Zarlixians shared some of their technology as well, presenting a device that could analyze genetic structures in real time. "This is how we assess compatibility and genetic health in our community," Z explained. Dr. Leah Thompson, who had been taking notes fervently, looked up, her curiosity piqued. "This could revolutionize how we understand genetics. Could we try this with a volunteer?" After a brief consultation and ensuring all ethical protocols were adhered to, a volunteer from the human team stepped forward. The Zarlixian device was used, and the room watched in awe as it projected a detailed genetic map. As the days progressed, the initial shock of Z's proposal softened into a cautious fascination. In nightly debriefings, John and his team discussed the potential benefits and risks of sharing more intimate biological data. "We need to keep a balance," John frequently reminded the team. "Any knowledge we gain must be matched with respect for individual rights and ethical standards." During one of these sessions, Z approached John with a concern. I sense hesitation about our proposal. Is it the emotional implications that worry you? John nodded. Partly, yes. The idea of sharing such personal aspects of human life is daunting. We're not just dealing with science, we're dealing with people's lives and emotions. Z listened intently, his expression thoughtful. On Zarlix, we view these exchanges as a celebration of life and unity. Perhaps understanding this perspective might help alleviate some concerns? It might, John conceded. Let's arrange a cultural exchange session. You can explain more about your customs, and we can share our perspectives on family and community. The following day, a joint session was held where both teams shared their cultural values regarding family and community. The Zarlixians described their ceremonies and the communal joys of their reproductive practices, while the humans shared stories of family bonds, marriage, and communal support. As understanding deepened, so did the trust between the two teams. John observed the interactions, realizing that this mission was about more than just scientific exchange. It was a profound exploration of what it meant to be human and Zarlixian in a shared universe. The exchange of cultural and biological insights had fostered an atmosphere of mutual respect and curiosity at the base. Dr. Eric Sandoval and his team were eager to demonstrate a new synthetic process they hoped could mimic Zarlixian genetic contributions, using isolated and non-reproductive human cells. The intent was purely educational, aiming to showcase human biotechnological advances. In a controlled laboratory environment, Eric explained the process to Z and his team. We've developed a synthetic medium that can support human cells in a way that mimics the early stages of human embryonic development. This does not lead to an actual human being, but allows us to study the developmental processes in vitro. Z was deeply interested. Fascinating. On Zarlix, we use similar techniques for educational purposes. It allows our young scientists to understand life's sanctity and complexity without ethical breaches. As the demonstration commenced, all initial results looked promising. The synthetic cells began to interact under the microscope, guided by precise bioengineering tools. However, soon after, an unexpected reaction occurred. The cells started multiplying at an unforeseen rate, diverging from any known human cellular behavior. Alarm bells rang, and the lab was immediately put under quarantine. John rushed to the scene alongside Major Tom Griggs, who was concerned about the security implications of the mishap. "What went wrong, Eric?" John asked, peering through the observation glass. Eric, looking baffled and worried, responded, "I'm not sure yet. It could be a contamination, or perhaps an unknown interaction between our synthetic medium and the Zarlixian observational tools." Z and his team were isolated as a precaution, though there was no immediate danger to them. Z seemed calm but concerned. "We need to understand whether this is a result of our technologies interacting. It's crucial for both our species' safety." The incident sparked a flurry of activity. Scientists from both teams worked together, conducting rigorous analyses to trace the source of the anomaly. Meanwhile, news of the incident leaked to the media, and speculation ran rampant, leading to fear and mistrust among the public. John held a press conference to quell the fears. "We are in full control of the situation. This anomaly occurred under strict laboratory conditions and poses no threat to the public. We are working closely with our Zarlixian colleagues to understand the root cause." Behind closed doors, Major Griggs expressed his concerns to John. "This could set us back significantly. Public opinion is fragile, and this incident could feed into anti-alien sentiments." John knew the stakes were high. "Let's keep transparent records of our investigation. We need to show that this partnership can handle setbacks responsibly." As the investigation continued, it became apparent that the reaction was a result of an unexpected compatibility between human synthetic media and a Zarlixian catalyst unintentionally introduced during the demonstration. The teams published their findings in a detailed report, highlighting the lessons learned about interspecies scientific collaborations and the importance of stringent biosecurity protocols. The resolution of the incident helped to restore some of the public's confidence, and the base returned to its routine, albeit more cautiously. John and Z reviewed the protocols to ensure that future demonstrations were safe. "We learned a tough lesson on unpredictability today," John admitted during a debrief. Z nodded in agreement. "Yes, but it also showed the strength of our collaboration. We faced a challenge and addressed it together." The incident, while a setback, ultimately strengthened the bond between the human and Zarlixian teams, cementing a foundation of resilience and shared responsibility. In the weeks following the lab incident, the mood at the base shifted noticeably. While the scientific and diplomatic teams continued their work with renewed protocols, the ripple effects of the incident had reached far beyond the controlled environment of the desert base. Public opinion was divided, with a growing faction expressing concern and fear about the implications of such close interspecies collaboration. As John Carter monitored the situation, reports came in of increased activity from a militant group known as the Human Purity Alliance, HPA, which opposed any form of alien interaction. Their rhetoric had intensified, and their messages spread widely across social media, stirring unrest. During a routine security meeting, Major Tom Griggs presented the latest intelligence. "We've intercepted communications suggesting that the HPA is planning something big. They see the lab incident as proof of alien danger, and they're mobilizing for action." John frowned, his mind racing with the potential implications. "We need to step up security around the base and communicate our safety measures more effectively to the public. We can't let fear undermine this mission." Dr. Eric Sandoval, who had been quiet, looked up. "It's not just about security, John. We need to address the public's fear scientifically. We should share more about what we're learning here. The benefits, not just the risks." John nodded in agreement. "Let's prepare an open day at the base. Invite journalists, influencers, and policymakers. Show them what we're doing. Let them meet Z and his team." As preparations for the open day began, Z approached John with a concerned expression. "I have been monitoring your media. The fear amongst your people is palpable. How can we help reassure them?" John appreciated the offer. "Just continue being transparent about your intentions and your culture. The more they see you're not a threat, the better." However, as the date of the open day approached, the HPA's activities escalated. A sabotage attempt was thwarted just outside the base's perimeter, a clear sign that the group was willing to escalate to violence. The incident prompted an emergency meeting with all key personnel and Z's team. Major Griggs laid out the options. "We can cancel the open day, increase our defenses, or proceed as planned under heightened security." After a tense discussion, they decided to proceed. The event became a demonstration not only of scientific progress, but also of resilience in the face of adversity. The open day was a tense affair, with heavy security discreetly positioned around the venue. Journalists and guests were given a comprehensive tour, showing the collaborative efforts, the safety measures in place, and the mutual benefits of human-Zarlixian cooperation. Z spoke to the gathered crowd, his voice calm and clear. "We came to Earth not to bring harm, but to learn and share. The incident in the lab was unfortunate, but it showed how closely we can work together to solve complex problems." The event concluded without any further incidents, but the threat of the HPA loomed larger than ever. In the following days, security briefs indicated increased chatter among the group's members, hinting at more planned actions. John met with his team and Z to strategize. "We can't let them dictate the course of this mission. We need to be proactive in engaging with the global community and reinforcing the benefits of what we're learning from each other." As they prepared for the possibility of further conflict, John realized that their mission had evolved from one of exploration and science to one of defending the very idea of peaceful interspecies cooperation. The next steps would require not just caution, but also a bold stance against those who would see their work undone. The threat from the Human Purity Alliance, HPA, had escalated to dangerous levels. Just days after the open day, surveillance cameras captured several armed individuals attempting to breach the perimeter of the base. The security team, led by Major Tom Griggs, repelled the attack, but the message was clear. The HPA was no longer just a vocal fringe group. It was a serious threat to the safety of everyone at the base, human and Zarlixian alike. In the aftermath of the attack, the mood at the base was tense. John Carter convened an emergency meeting with his security team and Z's representatives. "We need to consider relocating you to a more secure facility," John told Z, concern evident in his voice. Z, however, was resolute. "Moving us will not address the root of the problem, John. The fear and hatred that fuel such actions must be confronted, not avoided." While they deliberated over their next move, a crisis unfolded. Z was kidnapped during a routine scientific outing beyond the base. The kidnappers, masked and heavily armed, left behind a chilling message. Humans must remain pure. The base was thrown into chaos. John felt a personal responsibility. He had promised to keep Z safe. Assembling a select team, including Major Griggs, Dr. Eric Sandoval, and a few trusted security personnel, John prepared for a rescue mission. Using tracking technology embedded in Z's communication device, they traced the signal to an abandoned industrial complex on the outskirts of Las Vegas. The area was remote, ideal for keeping a low profile, which made it equally challenging for the rescue operation. As they approached the location, Major Griggs briefed the team. "Our priority is Z's safety. We go in quietly, assess the situation, and extract him without engaging unless absolutely necessary." The team moved under the cover of darkness, using night vision goggles to navigate the poorly lit complex. They communicated with subtle signals, avoiding any unnecessary noise. Inside the complex, they located Z held in a makeshift cell, guarded by 2 armed men. John and Griggs exchanged a look, a silent agreement passing between them. Using a coordinated effort, they took down the guards quickly and quietly. Z, although shaken, was unharmed. "I knew you would come," he said, managing a weak smile as John cut the restraints. As they made their way out of the complex, an alarm sounded. They had been discovered. What followed was a tense escape, dodging between buildings and returning fire when cornered. Eric, although not combat-trained, showed remarkable composure, helping to navigate using the complex's blueprints he had memorized. Once they reached the extraction point, the team breathed a collective sigh of relief. The helicopter whisked them away just as more HPA members arrived at the scene. Back at the base, as medical staff checked over Z, John debriefed with his team. "This was too close. We need to step up our game. We can't let there be a next time." Z, now recovered from the initial shock, insisted on broadcasting a message to the world. Standing alongside John, he addressed the media, his voice firm. "This act of violence has not deterred us. It has strengthened our resolve. Fear and hatred cannot dictate our future." The incident, while a stark reminder of the dangers they faced, also galvanized the base's resolve to continue their mission. The team's successful rescue of Z proved their commitment to their cause and their readiness to face whatever challenges came next. Following Z's rescue, the urgency to address the tensions between humans and Zarlixians reached a new peak. John Carter realized that mere scientific cooperation was no longer sufficient. They needed a political and diplomatic strategy to mitigate the escalating conflicts and prevent any future attacks. In the wake of the kidnapping, global interest in the Zarlixian mission had intensified. John, alongside Z and Major Tom Griggs, prepared to lead a delegation to the United Nations to seek a broader consensus on how to manage interstellar relations. Before departing for the UN headquarters, John met privately with Z. "Your courage in the face of such adversity has been inspiring," John said. "We need to use this moment to push for a comprehensive interstellar accord." Z nodded, his determination clear. "Our experiences here, both positive and negative, can serve as a powerful testimony to the need for a structured engagement protocol between our species." Upon their arrival at the UN, the atmosphere was charged with a mix of curiosity, skepticism, and a palpable sense of historical significance. The delegation was given a platform to address the General Assembly, where John and Z co-presented their case. John spoke first, detailing the scientific collaborations and the incident of Z's kidnapping. "What we have learned from our Zarlixian friends goes beyond science. It's about understanding and respecting our differences and finding common ground." Z took the podium, speaking about Zarlixian culture and their peaceful intentions. "We came to Earth out of a desire for knowledge and mutual growth. The challenges we faced have only deepened our respect for humanity's resilience and spirit." Their speeches were met with mixed reactions. Some nations were cautious, citing the need for stringent security measures, while others were more open, intrigued by the possibilities of cultural and technological exchange. The sessions that followed were intense. Negotiations stretched over several days, involving diplomats, scientists, security experts, and legal scholars from around the globe. John and Z, along with their teams, worked tirelessly, proposing the establishment of an interstellar relations framework that would outline the terms of engagement, security protocols, and mutual benefits of human-alien interactions. Amidst the negotiations, a breakthrough came when a consortium of countries interested in technological exchange voiced strong support for the framework. Their endorsement was crucial in swaying the general consensus. Finally, the resolution was put to a vote. The majority was in favor, and the framework was officially adopted. This marked a significant milestone in human-alien relations, setting a precedent for future interactions with other extraterrestrial civilizations. The success at the UN was celebrated back at the base. Z, John, and the entire team gathered to mark the occasion. Z addressed everyone. This accord is a testament to what we can achieve when we approach our differences with open minds and hearts. John added, "Today we didn't just secure a diplomatic victory, we laid down the roots for a lasting peace and partnership." As the celebrations wound down, John and Z took a moment to reflect on their journey. They had started as representatives of their respective species, cautious and uncertain. Now they stood together as architects of a new chapter in interstellar diplomacy. The adoption of the interstellar relations framework not only prevented future conflicts, but also opened up a pathway for peaceful and productive collaborations, ensuring that the challenges faced were not in vain, but were stepping stones to a greater understanding between humans and Zarlixians. In the wake of their successful diplomatic achievements at the United Nations, John Carter and Z focused on solidifying the new protocols and ensuring their implementation. The interstellar relations framework had established a blueprint for interaction, but bringing it to life required careful coordination and ongoing dialogue between Earth and Zarlix. Back at the base, John organized a series of workshops and symposiums, inviting experts from various fields to contribute to the development of operational guidelines under the new framework. Z and his team were integral to these discussions, offering insights into Zarlixian perspectives and technologies that could benefit Earth. One of the key initiatives was the establishment of a joint Earth-Zarlixian research facility, designated as a neutral zone where scientists from both worlds could collaborate. The facility, located in a remote part of Scandinavia, was designed to be a model of interstellar cooperation, equipped with advanced technology from both Earth and Zarlix. As the facility neared completion, John visited the site with Z. They toured the laboratories, residential areas, and communal spaces, each designed to accommodate the needs and comforts of both human and Zarlixian researchers. "This place is a symbol of what we've achieved together," John remarked, looking over the main atrium, where symbols of Earth and Zarlix were displayed side by side. Z nodded, his eyes reflecting a mix of pride and anticipation. "It's more than a research facility. It's a space where our cultures can meet, learn from each other, and grow together." The grand opening of the facility was marked by a ceremony attended by diplomats, scientists, and media from across the globe. John and Z jointly cut the ribbon, officially inaugurating the center. In his opening speech, John highlighted the journey from their first cautious interactions to the establishment of a deep, collaborative partnership. "As we stand here today, we're not just opening a facility. We're paving the way for a future where humanity and Zarlixians, and perhaps other species we may meet, can coexist and prosper together," John declared. Z followed with his own speech, emphasizing the shared vision that guided their efforts. "This center represents our hopes for a universe where knowledge and respect transcend planetary boundaries. Here we will tackle the greatest challenges facing our worlds, together." The research center quickly became a hub of innovation and discovery. Joint teams worked on projects ranging from environmental sustainability to space travel and advanced medicine. Public interest in the collaborations grew, and the center hosted open days and educational tours, helping to demystify the scientific work and promote wider acceptance of the Zarlixian presence on Earth. Meanwhile, John and Z continued to advocate for their cause, speaking at conferences and participating in policy discussions to ensure that the spirit of the framework was maintained and adapted as necessary. As the narrative of their mission closed, John reflected on the transformation that had occurred, both in his personal views and in the world's approach to extraterrestrial relations. He had started this journey with apprehension, but now saw the infinite possibilities that lay ahead. "This is just the beginning," he mused during a quiet moment with Z, overlooking the northern lights from the facility's observatory. "What we've built here is a testament to the power of understanding and cooperation." Z agreed, "And it will serve as a beacon for all who believe in a future where beings, regardless of their origin, can share a galaxy in peace." The story of John, Z, and their teams ended not with a conclusion, but with an open-ended invitation to the future, promising ongoing adventures in the shared pursuit of knowledge and unity.